Before you launch any campaign, whether for awareness, leads, or sales, there's one thing you can't skip: media planning and buying. In this first video of our digital marketing series, I'll break down how agencies plan campaigns from scratch. From reading the client brief, doing competitive research, to preparing a complete media mix and proposal. And once you're clear on that, you'll be ready to move into the next step: understanding how to present industry data and audience behavior to your clients. Let's get started. If you are running a campaign, you really need to do a media planning and buying. What does media planning and buying means? That if I have a particular product and if my objective is brand, then based on the target audience, what are the platforms I'm going to take? What should be my strategy? Should I create a video? Should I create only display? Should I create mixture of video, display, SEO, and various other things, right? So all those things will come into picture, and how we have prepared this module is such a way that it really going to help you tomorrow. If you're an agency and you want to do a pitch to a new client, what kind of objectives or what kind of pitch you're going to create, right? So when you do normally an agency pitch or something, you really need to give a lot of information about the competition, about the market, how it is growing, what is the opportunity, which are the kind of platforms you can take, what kind of creatives you're going to run, what is your competition doing. All those things are mixed together and put it in one slide. So you really need to convince, and you need to put forward your perspective about particular brand and what do you suggest. And you need to back it up with all the different statistics or data or whatever related to that platform, right? So that's what we're going to learn in media planning and buying. And I've created in a way that it's a complete process I have written, right from an agency get a brief, and how after getting a brief or the next step, and how the entire cycle works. So that's what we're going to cover in this module. As I said, right, planning process. Most important piece in the agency is media planning. The media planning clearly says, right, that you're going to plan a campaign for a client based on the brief received by you. So the first thing when it comes to digital agency, we're going to talk everything from a digital perspective, right? So an agency receives a brief, right? So say an XYZ, either it's a pitch, or you have already client on board and they've given you some work saying that, okay, next 4 months or a quarter or 6 months, we're going to come up with a big launch, and we want to give, and they want us to give them a complete media planning and a buying strategy, right? So in this case, agency receives a brief from the client. Agency goes through the brief to and do the research. Very important stuff. Do the research. There is a lot of research work. So what happens is at times you even reach out to various platforms like Facebook or Instagram or Google or various display campaigns or different OTT platforms, and try to capture data about the users, right? What are the unique users, or what are the impressions, what are the banners which gives them better CTR, which are the one which is the kind of ROI. Based on your objective, whether it's brand or performance, you decide, do a lot of research about the entire industry into that particular thing. If you're talking about fitness, then you have to give you an overall perspective as to how fitness industry, what all clients are doing, what are the competitors doing. And you need to do a lot of research in terms of what are the opportunities. If your target audience is defined by the client, you need to tell them what are the total size of the target audience which are actually available on digital, and then break it up based on the platform, right? So those are the kind of stuff comes under research part. Then once you do that, you capture all this information, present digital approach note with benchmark, reach, frequency, impact options, and media mix, right? 8 to 10 days from the day you receive the brief. So basically you give them an overall plan as to how you're going to suggest and what's your approach for the digital campaign. Okay. Once that discussion happens, you formulate a plan with media mix, right? Agreed, right? Maybe around 2 to 3 to 4 days post confirmation of the approach plan. So once the client says that more or less we are fine with this kind of approach, and that's when you start working towards your media mix. And the next step where comes is plan presentation to client with a weekly schedule, right? So 2 to 3 days from client's feedback. So now once clients gives you a first level of feedback about the media mix, you start creating the plan presentation for the client and present it to them. Make a revision in the plan if any, post client's feedback, 2 to 3 days post client's feedback. So technically couple of days, once you get feedback, you do the research, you go to those platforms, you go to the publisher partners, get all those data as per requirement by client and suggestions given by the client. And then again, you make the client the plan, and then final plan presentation post iteration solicited by the client 2 days post client's feedback on an initial plan, right? So once clients gives you a final discussion, this is how the plan is going to be, you decide and work out a final presentation, right? And then once everything works well as per the client's requirement, clients to send approval on all the documents imperative to go ahead with the release. 2 days from receipts of the media plan. It depends upon company to company, because if there are big companies, obviously they have their own policies and all that takes time. But on an average, it takes around 2 to 3 days. And then obviously take the plan, go to your operation team, initiate market research, estimates, ensure placement, start date as agreed timelines, 3 to 4 days from the date of receipts of creative. So once you get creatives from their creative agency, in case you guys are making creative, and obviously you will have a separate timeline based on the creative. But if you are not making creative and you are releasing agency for campaigns and all, then obviously you will wait for the creative, and once you get the creative, you start that kind of process, right? So then we come to an implementation project. So now we have already things in hand. Now what all things we do under implementation process, right? So the way we said, right, share market research and estimates with the client based on the approved plans, solicited written approval from clients to get a go ahead basically from them, share uploads creative, check creatives, do QC, quality check status, arrange for the revisions. If there is anything size issue or pixel is not as per the mark, then the various platforms like Google, Facebook and other big platforms, they have a very stringent guidelines you need to follow. So you need to make sure that everything is as per that. And then obviously generate a release order or a purchase order. Once you do that, system generates a release order with material code, sends to the publisher in day 1 or day 2. Basically agency coordinate with the partners for RO, delivery, material delivery, etc. Again in couple of days. Status update on the live date, saying that when are we going to go live on a particular day. So for example, if you're planning say a YouTube master, obviously you need to plan well in advance, right? So you need to book all the dates and confirm with the client. And share dates on sponsorship, right? Exactly. So if you're doing some sponsorship of cricket or Formula 1 or football or some award function or anything, you need to keep all those things in mind. And then share monitoring reports once everything goes live. Understand what is the ROI you are getting, see the data, analyze your reports and optimize that. Maintain implementation schedule, including value adds and share post, campaign end dates, all those kind of stuff, right? So once your campaign is done, share a final report on deliverables highlighting the value adds, optimization, etc., which takes around 8 to 10 days because you get some amount of time to get all the kind of data. And ops to maintain entries of each estimates brand, estimate brands amount and the share monthly with the client on a regular basis. So right, so once you are in the process, this is net more or less every agency or a planner will follow this as a process. This is just a general thumb which I have given. Normally we are running a big campaign. This is what you normally follow as far as implementation process is concerned. So now you know how the campaign planning cycle works, right from the brief to the presentation. In the next video, we'll talk about how to present digital ad spends, market data, and consumer insights in a compelling way your clients will understand and trust. Subscribe and continue the playlist because this is just the beginning.